Let's talk about the Dichotomy of Control by Epictetus. This is something that I learned about a couple days ago, and I thought it was interesting enough to make a video on it. The Dichotomy of Control is something that was created by Epictetus. Although it was not written down by him, it was written down by Arian, who transcribed all of his lectures because, as you know, old school philosophers did not believe in writing down their ideas. They'd rather just speak them. Let's start with what's in our control. That would be our desires, our actions, our thoughts, our opinions, etc. What's out of our control would be what class we were born into, our physical characteristics, our reputation, how people view us, things of that nature. Epictetus believed that personal freedom and strength and independence was derived from working inside that little circle. So he had a little circle of what's in our control, and then he had a big circle around that little circle of what's out of our control. And as long as we work inside that circle, we will benefit from the fruits. And now he believed if you do the opposite and you focus and tend to spend a lot of your time working in that outer circle, what's out of our control, that's where we start to form enemies. That's where we'll just run into overall turmoil, and there will not be happiness out there because you're trying to fix something and work on things that you have no control over. Now, if we really break it down and think about it, if you're spending most of your time, if not all your time, in that small circle, what's in your control, you're spiritually unbreakable, you're untouchable. So there's nothing that anybody could do that is outside your control or to tarnish your reputation, or there's anything that isn't physical that can't harm you because you're just in your little circle. You don't care. Because you're just controlling what you can control and you've accepted what you cannot control. So it really doesn't matter to you. So that brings me to my next point of his philosophy was take responsibility of what you can't control, and then what you cannot control, just take it for what it is and accept it and move forward. So how can we use this? Let's first start with what's in our control, right? So we have our desires, our opinions, our actions, our thoughts, etc. We need to first identify those. And then, like I said before, we need to take responsibility over those. And once we do that, this is where Stoicism comes from, I believe, or this is rather a big belief in Stoicism. Once you take responsibility of that, and then you just focus on those, it will drown out the noise around you. And this allows you to be very effective because there's no other variables, right? When you're dealing with things that are outside of your control and trying to change them, there's an insurmountable, unfathomable amount of variables that could disrupt what you're trying to do. So it's the utmost effectiveness focusing on what's inside your control. Now let's move on to out of your control. So as you did before with identifying what's in your control, now let's identify what's out of our control, right? So we have things like traffic, bad weather, sickness. I mean, you could take steps to prevent sickness, but overall, it's out of your control. The way people view you and your reputation, again, you could take steps and you could act a certain way in hopes that people will enjoy you or have a good belief about you. But at the end of the day, no matter what you do, if somebody thinks badly about you, they think badly about you. There's nothing you could do about it. And Epictetus believed true suffering comes from trying to control what is outside your control. And I mean, if we think about it, if we attach our happiness to these externals, we're leaving our happiness up to chance. We're giving it to the world and hoping the world does with it what we want. And that's, in my belief, majority of the time not going to turn out well. Now, another way we could suffer beyond not taking, what we can't control for what it is not taking responsibility of what we can't control. And, we play this blame game, we play victimhood, and we blame the world around us for everything that's happening to us with things that are in our control, right? With the way we act and our thoughts. Now, this could lead to misery because you're forfeiting your self-sovereignty. You're admitting to the world that I'm not in control. You're in control of how I feel. And that's where victimhood mentality, I think, is spawned. I think that's the epicenter of victim mentality. So I hope this video granted you enough information to take some time today and really sit down, take even 5 minutes, and take inventory. Think about in your life what's in your control and what's not in your control. Now take what isn't in your control and take responsibility for that, right? And then take what's out of your control and take it for what it is. You can't control it. And try to, day in and day out, constantly have that at the forefront of your thoughts and see if it changes anything. I mean, even write on a piece of paper, draw a dark circle. That's what's in your control. And then draw a big circle around that. Don't color that circle in. And that's out of your control. And fill that all in. And then lead the rest of your days like that and see what changes. Obviously, we're human. It's not perfect. This is a tale I feel like as old as time. And this is something that is a concept that's not new to anybody. You know, you always hear that. Whether you're into philosophy or stoicism or not, you hear, well, it's not in your control, you can't control it. But we know at the end of the day, we're still very bothered by things that are not in our control. And we do kind of blame the heavens sometimes of why me, why this, why can't it be different? And I don't think we have to be apologetic about that, but I definitely think that we should try to change that as best as we can. And I don't think I've ever met somebody that is, totally in control of their emotions when it comes to what's out of their control, what's in their control. I still think people get bothered about stuff, no matter how stoic they are, about things that they can't control. But it's a pretty neat concept to think about, especially when you make it applicable to just life. If I think about, like, say sickness, you cannot control getting sick. But like I said before, there's steps that you can take to prevent illness, right? And you get sick and you think to yourself, what the heck? Why am I sick, man? Like, I had a big party to go to, or I had an important meeting to go to, and I'm sick. That you can't control. But what you can control is, okay, moving forward, I think I'm going to start taking my multivitamins. I'm going to make sure I'm staying hydrated. I'm going to the gym. I'm staying clean. I'm washing my hands. And it will change the fabric of your thought processes of, was I slipping up prior to this? Was I eating junky food? Was I not hydrated enough? Was I not getting enough exercise, sweating enough? Was I putting myself in an environment with tons of people where sickness was kind of inevitable? And maybe at the end of the day, do I have to go to the doctor? Is there an autoimmune issue that I'm dealing with or whatnot? But that's a more extreme case. So, yeah, that's the end of the video. I'm going to get back to drinking my my LD. I'm almost done. I have like maybe 15 more minutes of writing until this is not done. I'm going to, books I always kind of dabble back into them. But until I have it completely, broken down and ready for a video, which I'm excited to make. A little nervous, though. So, you guys know the drill. I will talk to you tomorrow. Peace.